Welcome to AEC Punch, presented by CorpGini and supported by Comezzo, Business World Wire, Elegance Enterprise, Go Smart Bricks. After a huge success and an overwhelming response from the industry, we bring to you the second series of AEC Punch. And the topic for discussion today is rethinking real estate marketing considering the current COVID situation. Economic situation now and after the crisis is unpredictable. Corporates are struggling to manage the situation. This session has been put together to help corporates get a perspective from the experience of experts on various important organizational aspects, especially in sales, that can help them make responsible decisions to survive in this situation. Also, we don't want to stop at just giving corporations the discussion or knowledge. So we went ahead and identified solutions by startups which can actually help them in closing the gap and taking some actions. Before I move on to the panel and we start on the discussion, Pavan, my friend, is here. He will be introducing the panel quickly. I will give a small introduction about CorpGini. CorpGini is a platform for corporates to consistently discover and learn disruptive tech solutions and engage with startups to adopt innovation. Our objective is to align the corporates and startups and bring them together at an intersection where they can collaborate and find cross synergies. At one end, startups have innovative thinking and a zeal to bring the transformative disruptions. With the changing behavior pattern, many of them lack resources in terms of market reach, production, capabilities, and capital. Whilst corporates, on the other hand, move too slow because of archaic international processes that can go against embracing innovation. So as I mentioned before, at CorpGini AEC Punch, we are addressing various issues faced by the corporations, and the good part is we are also discussing the solutions. This is an opportunity for all of us to collaboratively overcome challenges and create a sustainable future. So now, without any undue, to discuss this further, today I have with me some of the very inspirational thought leaders who will be sharing their key insights on the topic. I will quickly invite Pavan to take this over. Pavan, over to you.
Thank you so much, Neha. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and it is my pleasure to welcome you all at CorpGini's webinar, Rethinking Real Estate Marketing in Current COVID Era. So I quickly would like to introduce our esteemed panel for today's discussion. So we have Mr. Dhruv Ghosh. He is a Senior Vice President Marketing at Provident Housing. And he also led Purvankara brand for almost 7 years in capacity of Vice President Marketing. We have Vyoma Pandit. She's a Chief Marketing Officer, Sriram Properties. She's an IIM Bangalore graduate in marketing. And prior to that, she has led some of the leadership roles at Lodha Group, Brigade Group. We have Mr. Bhaskar Jain. He's a head of sales, marketing, and CRM at the Vadhva Group, one of the most reputed brand in India. Prior to that, he was with Godrej Properties roughly about 7 years, including Dubai location. And then we have veteran Mr. Suresh Rangarajan. He owns one of the largest co-living space in India by name Co-Live. And prior to that, he also led Artha Property, which is a Times Group's venture, and in capacity of managing director. Also, I would like to introduce Shashi Kiran Kalyanpur. He's a veteran in the industry again, a real estate consulting CMO currently. And he has led some of the leadership roles at Mantri Developers, Sapunji Palonji, Skylark, Citrus Venture. Then very happy to have a representation from the channel partners. So we have Mr. Ravi Kant. He is Managing Director of Elegance Enterprises, one of the largest channel partner in India, having presence in about 5 cities. Then I'm very happy to have Bharat Gadam. He is the CEO of cognitive ROI. And he has led, at a national level, one of the large agency called DDB Mudra. And there he has worked with really, some of the large brands like Shobha, Sapurji, Pallonji. So we have a very interesting mix of panel today in terms of coming people from the channel partner side. We have, large agency representation, and then people who are managing the marketing, communication, and sales. The people themselves are coming together on this panel. And about myself, I'm Pawan Gupta. I run a 5-year young marketing agency by name Comezzo. And also we started last year operations in US market. Overall, I have about 13 years of experience in corporate, largely about digital marketing and the content side. So, so quickly, I've been last couple of days, I've been going through some of the reports. And so according to the McKinsey report, the real estate landscape will undergo significant change post-COVID-19. And many of the changes will be permanent, like social distancing, work from home will become a new norm, right? So it is vital for the real estate industry to reimagine the current and post-COVID scenario that would influence the customer journey like never before. So it is very important as a panel, we identify some of the very important changes in the journey that would be the key driver for the communication and the marketing strategies going forward. So I'll just, without any further delay. So if you look at last 2 months our scenario, right? I think the roti kabada makan suddenly has become a center part of our entire life, and this entire community from the real estate today come together to discuss some of the key aspects in the current and the post-COVID area what to discuss. So first question I will be starting up with a kind of a fireside question, and I'll be needing an answer in one word, right? So the first question, panelists, to you is, how do you find buyer sentiment today? Is it you see positive or negative? One by one, Mr. Ghosh, please.
Dhruva sir, you are on mute.
My apologies. My apologies. So I think it's very difficult to answer in one thing, because I think it's quite moderate. We have both kind of reactions that we see. There are people who are, they're not enthused for sure. But yes, they are more reluctant, and I think they're just being a little more cautious, if I may use that word.
Sure. Mr. Bhaskar.
Yes, Pawan. So I would say there is an affinity towards a certain sector of properties, a certain section. It's not that everybody is looking out, so sentiments are mixed, but still there is a demand. And for sure, things have been strong. But for specific properties where people need a shelter, or people who are end use and are looking at a property which is nearing completion or ready to move in, yes, there is a demand. Sentiment is quite positive about it.
Sure. Vyoma, what are your views?
I feel there are two kinds of customers. One is the opportunists. So people who have the money, but think that this is a great time to get deals, and they're looking for deals. If you give them a good one, they'll buy. The second is people who might not exactly have the money, but know they have to buy a house sometime, and they're confused. So they will just wait and watch for the next few months and maybe then take a call.
Mr. Ravikant, what do you say?
I think I look at little different way, and certainly some of the people have mentioned it. So customers are there in the market. They are taking little time to decide. But yes, they are exploring the opportunities, and as everyone is coming out with a good attractive offer, they are just trying to grab it. There would be some customers who may take little time, but they are also understanding and evaluating it, and they are just waiting for a right property, right opportunities to buy it.
Suresh, your views, please.
Yeah, I think, shelter at home requires home, right? I mean, lockdown requires a house to live in. So it is as basic as that. I'm trying to drive home the point that, the most important essential element for anything, people have realized that home is the most essential one. So I think, in what form is going to be the question, whether it is purchase or rental, but, housing needs will always be there and it will be evergreen. In fact, these kind of pandemics will only reiterate the point that I just need to secure myself more. I just need to ensure that I at least have a house. So that kind of a feeling will start coming in. And, I don't think, people will shy away from buying or living in a home, right? I mean, it is basic.
Sure. Shashi, your quick views on this.
Yeah, I think there is a wait and watch thing that all of them are seeing. They know that home has become the most important thing now, but they're just trying to wait and see what their revenue streams are going to be, because a lot of people are unsure whether, their jobs are going to be there, whether the job cuts are happening, salaries are going down and stuff like that. So there's a wait and watch, but there is a huge segment that's looking at buying now. But I think it will take a little time for them to come out into the market, but inquiries will start for sure.
Bharat, your 2 cents on this?
Yeah, my feeling is that right now, whoever is going to come out in the market will be bargain hunters and people who are investors and, look for a bargain. And like how everyone is feeling that maybe in 3 months, 6 months down the line, this whole feeling of getting secure and maybe, have a home that, suits the, the latest needs of, which creates opportunities of facilities for working from home. They will start to look for them, and some of them might actually look for a changing home for a better rental, if not purchase. Because everyone's, what we are seeing across is there is a good 20 to 30% revenue cut in terms of, the salary cut or any, even in the businesses. So my feeling is that the bargain hunters will buy, and the others will start moving into better rental properties.
So now I think there is a very mixed view coming from the panel, right? So few people are definitely saying there are uncertainty, there is a wait and watch kind of scenario, and this is very difficult time where the people are kind of going through and not very sure. There is a fear of job loss. So now my next question to panel is, why should we even market in such a difficult time to people now? Is it really important that we spend our dollar in marketing and in the communication? So I'll start with the Vyuma to take her view on this.
So yeah, Pawan, as most of us know, right, that whenever there is a pressure on cash flows, which has been the situation, unfortunately, just in the beginning of this financial year for most businesses, and whenever there is a pressure on cost, the first thing that goes under the razor is marketing budgets. And that is the thing that most companies immediately clamp down upon, saying, marketing pehle band kar denge. So at this point in time, fundamentally what marketeers should look at is, there are 2 ways of working on new leads or getting new people to buy your products. One is either tell the same thing to a new set of customers, which is what we always do. More business requirements, more business targets, more leads. Spend money on marketing, fill the funnel, process the leads and convert it into transactions, right? And that's what we conventionally do when we do have marketing budgets. But when we do not have marketing budgets is when the second thing comes into picture, which is communicating differently to the same set of people, right? So either the same thing to different people or a different thing to the same set of people. And now that we don't have marketing budgets, and I think it is only wise to conserve cash at this point in time, so that businesses don't have to take a call of salaries and laying off people, etc. I think at this point in time, what you say becomes doubly important. And secondly, how you churn your bucket. How many times do you follow up with the same leads? How do you speak to them? How smartly do you follow up? And how smartly do you convert becomes extremely important.
Sure. Mr. Bhaskar, what would you do in the current time? I mean, do you think that we should be really spending more dollars on marketing and on this kind of thing?
Well, I think we should. All that we need to look is that how do we optimize our budgets and, of course, choose the right distribution channel. I think stopping completely is not the way out. I think we are here for long. All of us in the industry are here for long. And there's a disruption or let's say wait and watch situation or uncertainty has to have a timeline. It cannot go for long. So building a funnel, constantly engaging with your consumers' existing database is very, very important, very critical. My only view here is that it's not about cutting down the budgets or let's say probably reducing or in fact stopping it completely. It's about how we optimize. So for example, if I have to put it across, we have to be very focused rather than being scattered. Normally what we do in real estate, because of huge mammoth inventory which lies with the developer, we choose to go all out in terms of a marketing communication. I think we have to understand as market is shrunk, it has been very, very selective about what they need to choose. It is important that we keep it very focused, look at more and more B2B channels, look at our own existing customers as our own channel of distribution, look at banking channels, corporate channels where people are going for a sanction, looking for a property. So wherever all touch points, wherever there could be a network where people are looking for a property, or there's a possibility of buying, we should explore those channels. At the same time, on a brand side of it, we should keep engaging with our customers, existing database, new prospects, so that there is a funneling which is going to come in next 3 to 6 months on a very, very stronger note.
Drew, what are your views on this?
Yeah, I think it's whilst yes, there is a cut in the obviously the budgets that that happens. The marketing budget gets obviously cut as the first reaction to any of the such scenarios. But I think that will be the biggest blunder if anybody just stops marketing. I think it's important that the communication should go on. It gives you a share of voice that where there are which you can capture a little more. But I think more importantly, I mean, they obviously have to be more streamlined approach. And that's where, a whole lot of this analytics comes more into play. One has to be more cautious in terms of how those monies are spent. Are there, carpet bombing is probably a complete no-no. Going back to the existing databases that are there, and reaching out to them in as many ways as possible to squeeze out. I mean, keep communicating with everybody is, like I mentioned earlier, is something which is absolutely important. Yeah, I mean, it's even more important to be more efficient at this point in time, to really be making the best out of those things. People are out there looking for homes, but the more targeted and choice of media, choice of specific high performing. So all those things are far more important in this kind of a scenario, I would say.
Okay, coming back to you, Shashi, your quick 2 cents on this.
Yeah, absolutely. I think with the marketing budgets going down, I think it's very, very important to go back to your existing clients and the clients who have already come. See, in the last maybe a year or so, I think all real estate companies have generated a whole lot of leads, right? They have a huge database that is lying. And I'm sure that the sales guys need to now pull up their socks and start calling each one of them and trying to see how. See, the most important thing now is how do you gain trust of the customers, right? Because in this uncertain times, everybody's trying to see how do I get to a company which is actually caring for the customers. So I think right now, a big job for the CRM, the customer relationship staff and the sales guys to pull up and see how they can get customers back into the fold, because there are a lot of people who have come for site visits and gone and not closed, So I think a lot of them are out there. Start calling them, because unless you call them 10 times, I don't think they react. So which a lot of people don't do, especially the sales guys. So I think you need to start looking at existing leads, because every company has a huge database that is not tapped, because 2 calls happen and then it's out of the system. So I think that needs to.
The more focus on, you're saying, is on the existing pipe, whatever we have built. We have to kind of act upon that. Now, going back to Suresh, I just would like to understand what your message would be to the community in such a difficult time. Do you think that people should be spending their dollars this side of the department?
Yeah, I strongly believe that communication is very, very important during crisis times. Like, see what is happening at the top. Our Prime Minister has come and spoken to all of us 5 times. So that's the message. You as a CEO have gone and spoken to your employees. Similarly, we as a brand need to continuously communicate with our customers all the time. So the creative is very important. The content is very, very important. It doesn't need to be a lead generating marketing campaign at this point in time. It has to be more to do with an educative campaign. It has to be touching their chord, saying that yes, housing is an important element. How have I suffered during these pandemic times? How I wish I had a office room to myself. So you need to create those kind of content which they will be able to empathize at this point in time. So there is absolutely no doubt that we need to continue, in terms of our marketing. Digital engagement becomes very important. It is not about holding more leads. So lead generation should not be the priority at this point in time. It is about going back to each bucket of your customer and communicating depending on what they wanted in the previous past, and creating an overall education on housing more as a brand commitment.
Very good insight, Suresh. Now I'll quickly take views from Ravikant. So I think there's a mixed views are coming. Few people are saying lead generation should become one of the core, funnel buildings, become one of the important things. And second thing is the brand communication only is becoming the important thing. So Ravi, what are your views in terms of where this dollar should be, currently we should spend, and what your message to the community?
So I agree with a few of you where Bhaskar said it, as well as Dhruva, and as well as Mr. Shashi also mentioned it. See, I look at the communication is very important, said by Mr. Suresh, and at the same time we have to look at, I don't think so we should really cut down the marketing cost because I feel when the difficult time comes, you should have a more effort to reach out to the respective clients, and certainly they are there in the market. The way initially, if you look at the COVID-19 days started, the challenges were more, people were a little scared, even we were not knowing what to do. But slowly, if you look at the change, we started communicating. I'll just give a little example about how we have looked at. On initial days, we started sending a message and communicating to each one of them, even the people who have not bought a property from us. I hope your family is safe and everything is good and all about. And then we started understanding the requirement that now people have realized it. We have to live with this, whatever it is, and people have started cooling down. So we started doing some of the other activities, which later stage in my communication I'll share with you. And now we are talking about on a sale activities. We are generating leads, and we find the difference. The lead generation, which we started a month back, we are doing now. So the lead flows has gone little high. So people see the requirement of the houses are there. People were not understanding what to do, how to react with this situation. But today I feel we should really keep our funds ready for, and we should pump the fund in the marketing. But yes, the medium should be right, platform should be right, and communication should be right to the clients.
So thanks, Ravi. And coming back to Bharat, I think from the agency perspective, so there are a lot of agencies who closely work with the builders, right? So the current thing, how do you see, this new demand, this new way of working, do you see how agencies are adapting this, the new is coming from the developers? And what's your perspective on the communication, the marketing and these activities should be looking at?
So I feel, this is a great opportunity to do two things. One, I think some of the panel members also suggested that we need to understand what kind of marketing mix worked, right? Earlier, I think all of us are doing everything. Now is the time to figure out what is the best combination of a marketing mix that gives us result. So like, for example, every one of us know that, we have got cut by 30%, 40% budgets, sometimes 50%. But what 50% will we cut? Will we cut across, or will we cut across something which is not working earlier also, right? So that is a very critical opportunity during these couple of months where, the marketing team should engage with analytic partners or analytics companies to understand what component of marketing works, and hence we can double down on that. That's the first thing that we should do, because everyone understands that the marketing budget is going to be cut, right? The second thing is that this is my view that, like I said, it continues from my earlier view saying that there are bargain hunters who will anyways come during this time. To attract the people who are on the edge, I think the best way to do it is the best way to do this is to be able to be top of mind for these guys in a very, very interesting way. Actually, in the discussion itself, some of them mentioned that how do we make these engagements more interesting, more educative, more informative, more enabling, right? A lot of people, there is this WhatsApp forward, which actually is going around saying that, how rental is better than actually buying a house, right? We need to counter some of those myths. We need to figure out why a certain way of house will be good for working in home as well as having a better productivity. So those are the better brand salient measures in terms of content engagement. These are not costly marketing initiatives that we need to do, but these are things which will help consumers get educated, informed, and also keep the brand in question top of mind. Suddenly, if I see Sriram telling about something which will educate me about how to plan my new home, ownership new home, I will remember the brand Sriram, and suddenly moment I am comfortable, the first lead I will generate is to Sriram, like an example, right? Or the brand which actually helped me think about it. So that will come into my mind, so that while it will not create a lead right now, it will definitely help in the long term, because people will take some time to absorb the shock, right?
I think very interesting perspective, Bharat. I believe, so you were saying that it's a more of enabling our customer, it's more of calming down our customer, boss, yeah, these are tough times, but with the right communication can ease out a lot of things, right? Yeah. So taking the clues from these, points which have come. So I would like each of you to at least, give 2 recent steps which you have taken to realign your marketing communication. So that will be really, for my audience, it will be very interesting. So there are about 1,000 odd people have already logged in, and it would be very interesting for them to understand what are the 2 steps, each of you, if you can give some examples, 2 examples from each of panel member, will be very interesting insight for my audience. So I would start with Mr. Bhaskar to kind of, in the marketing communication, any recent 2 alignments which you have done. So you have to unmute.
Sorry, Pawan. Yes. So I was saying, I think I can talk about many, because things have been very dynamic. So we are looking at multiple ways of approaching our consumers, existing database of customers. But I think few things I would want to share. I think what we are doing differently and can help people as their takeaway is, number one, that we are focusing on B2B models more than anything else. People in our industry mostly understand B2B as a channel partner, agent distribution model. I think what we are looking at is, as people were saying, that we have to slightly conscious about our spends that we are doing. So we are focusing on where the sales can come first. As you almost said, it is of course about our existing database. So what we're doing is we are engaging very, very constantly with the existing database. I can cite some of the examples. It's like what we're doing is all the existing residents of our developments across the city and wherever, we are actually taking some testimonials from them in terms of what is that they're doing in their house, what is that they really liked about their house. Certain moments that they're doing a clipping and putting it on social media, or sort of a contest that is running across, because they are actually acting like a brand ambassadors rather than actually we going out in the market and telling that, please, this is the scheme you buy us. This is what we're offering you buy us. So that's a very strong engagement that is happening. And because people see, real estate has been a very localized and a regionalized game. So people are somewhere or interconnected with the people who have bought. So they're looking at it, and people in the same network are actually quite happy about they've been experiencing while they're in their back home. Those things are actually spreading out in a very, very strong message on a social media or on the other digital platforms. So my only communication is, my only point I'm trying to make here is that the platform is common to everybody. It's not that people don't know about social media. They're very well aware that this is going to be a next phase of digitization. But it is absolutely very important that how do I choose the medium which I am going to communicate? How do I do that? How do I enable people to actually get onto the platform and do engage with us? So that's number one. Number two is, I would say that it's talking about probably how do you optimize your spend, which is the very first thing I talk about. So I can tell you how we're doing it. So what we're doing is we have actually selected some of the organizations who complements us and doesn't compete with us, but the audience is quite common. For example, let's say a brand like Audi, a brand like Mercedes, a brand like even as smaller as Honda. So depending on the segment that we are operating for that property, so let's say the property is about 2 crores, we identified that most of our consumers actually drive a brand like Honda or a Ford. So we tied up with them and we said that we will do a dual marketing, we'll do a sort of a joint marketing where the leads generated can be serviced by both of us in a complementing manner. For you, you become our mobility partner on the other angle. For us, of course, it is about buying a house. Or we have tied up with some of the interior agencies where people are looking to actually furnish their houses. That's how we're doing cross promotions in terms of marketing, where there is a marketing investment which is going from both the sides. The reach is far better. And it is complementing, non-complementing. We're able to serve them for both the purposes. For example, the automobile brands come as a mobility partner with us. The interior brands come as with the furnishing partners with us. So we're just trying to collaborate and just trying to optimize and have a farthest reach as far as possible. These are the key two takeaways probably that can help us people in innovating and probably optimizing being spent because of the fact that, of course, we have to be slightly conscious about what we do today.
Sure. That's a very interesting view, I believe. So, connecting the dots and also being very subtle in the communication and the way we market, I think people have become very conscious. I think these two examples are really great. I'll just have Vyoma to come in and if she can also share two of the recent initiatives being taken in the marketing communication and in realignments would be great.
Yeah. So Pavan, when this whole lockdown happened, right, our team got together and for about a week, we had a whole strategizing session on how do we engage with the customer during and after this whole lockdown, because everybody knows that this kind of period is here to stay. So since you're talking specifically about communication, I'll stick to that part of it. And what we're doing is that typically real estate advertising has been either left brain or right brain. It has either been about offers, here's an opportunity buy, or it has been about, hey, the emotion, apna ghar, finally you get to own your home, etc. kind of emotion. Now, this is the time when we decided that you cannot go with either. You have to go with both. It has to be a mix of left brain and right brain. You have to tug at the emotion, yet give them a reason or an opportunity to go ahead with the transaction. So that is one part. Another part has been that it cannot be only about us. When I mean us, I say the brand. Most of the time, real estate marketing has been about the me, saying, I have these features, my property has these features, or I have this offer, come buy from me, and I'm better than the others out there, right? So this time, it also has to be about them. It has to be, again, a mix of us and them. It has to be a mix of left and right, right? So with that, the first phase, the first call we took during the lockdown was introducing something called a zero contact, zero risk expression of interest. It could have just been in any other time, we would have just said, hey, expression of interest, matlab refundable booking hai, you can take your money out and it's safe, right? So this time the focus was on safety. Safety by way of no contact, we will not meet you, we will just do this remotely with our digital initiatives, right? And another thing was about zero contact, zero risk. So your money is back. So with this, during the lockdown, we were able to, between lockdown 1 and 2, we were able to get around 200 transactions amongst all 3 cities where we have projects. And I think it was a very good number that the team could manage by just this assurance that, hey, we are with you, we are safe, yet we are giving you a good deal, so don't lose out on this opportunity. The second wave came was when we started opening up last week. Gradually, being in Bangalore, we're relatively safe, touch wood. So we started opening up last week. And again, the focus was not on offers. The focus was creating what we call, as we've started a hashtag campaign called Responsible Restart. So the focus was on saying, first, we will give you the assurance that it is safe to visit us. It is safe to transact with us. we are with our employees, we are keeping our premises safe, we are with our partners, we are with our customers, and we're focusing on responsible restart after this whole thing is behind us. And now we are gradually transitioning into a communication where we have introduced a mascot called Captain Safe. And Captain Safe is taking a lot of measures to keep your premises safe. And now he is going to come to you with some great offers, which are going to keep you, your family, your finances, etc. safe. So yes, there are offers, but there are offers with a twist of safety to it, and the empathy, which is the them that I was talking about earlier. That it's not just about us giving you offers; it's about we caring about you and you taking away something for this, and this being done for you and your safety in mind.
Absolutely, I think very nice perspective, Roma. So I think one is ensuring at the same time that we talk about them. There is a component of empathy where your campaigns like zero contact and keeping safety in the mind, and then your Captain Safe mascot. I think these are really some of the interesting stuff. Now I'll come back to Dhruva. Any two examples if you can also put in, which Provident recently has taken in the community.
Yeah, sure. So I think from a Marcom perspective, basically what we looked at is, two aspects. Like I mentioned, one is the existing customers, and the other ones that we were from an acquisition point of view. Now, also what was very important that when I talk about the existing customers, it's important that the, cash flow also keeps coming into the, for the people who may have bought in the recent past. And so keeping all of those things in mind, what we immediately started doing was, communicating to the existing customers in terms of that, also how we are taking care of everything in terms of your construction and all. Whilst we may have had a pause, but we ensure that the construction staff or the laborers community is taken care of. As much as so that the people don't have to move out from the city. What we have been observing and hearing in a whole lot of these cities where migrant populations are really going back, and hence there's less of confidence in people, as in, or they start worrying in terms of what happens to the money that they've been put into the homes that they've bought, and obviously these things are something which we kept communicating right from the beginning itself, which was also going out to the masses in large, wherever through our social or any other way of messaging. And that actually was more towards focusing on how the brand is more responsible. Brand is the one that you can trust, and from.
So just one sec. So any the kind of campaign or any initiative, which so if you can give a real example, that would be really nice. Like where you can have said that. Yeah.
Sure. So the other part of from the acquisition perspective itself, there were campaigns that we ran where it was basically to overcome the difficulties. There were people who wanted to buy, and where I don't think we saw a real dearth in people really inquiring about it or showing real interest into purchase. But what was coming as a pain point for them was to probably do a site visit, understand the project, etc. So we it was more important for all of for us to capitalize on the existing the systems that we had put in place much earlier, and how we could turn around campaigns around that. People were so basically it was more of embracing the virtual reality, which is now really real. So we brought in various ways in terms of making that entire process smooth, and that's how we started communicating in terms of looking at how the person can take so if you look at our communication, where the best part about this entire scenario was that the families were getting together, they were spending more time. So all our communications were more addressed where a collective decision or a family being shown, or the time that they spend,
True.
And how they could decide on using these virtual realities that existed. So we had a booking engine, which is basically a person can go and select a particular unit on a real-time basis on from the choice of projects, the products or the apartments that are there. So we had this system. So we explored and we explained that as part of the the communication bit itself, and we showcase that what gives them more confidence in terms of that the uncertainties can be overcome by the payment protection, etc., which can and also refund that can be taken in case of any uncertainties.
So now I'll just quickly also want to quickly just take in views from Shashi as well as Ravi, and then going back quickly to Suresh. So probably we'll start with Shashi, then Ravi, and then Suresh to coming in, and then kind of 2 cents from your end.
Sure, I think I agree a lot with Vyoma, because I think there's a lot of empathy that the brands need to show, which means that the brands now need to show that they're human too, So there is a lot of things that, especially the brands that I consult, there was one initiative that I want to share, which a couple of brands implemented, was to take care of the vulnerables in the society that they have already built, which means the old people above 65. The brands actually offered, saying that just give us a list of whatever you need, we will get that delivered from our side, irrespective of whether the apartment was handed over to the association or not. So the brand came in and said, this is what we will do for you, and we are there for you irrespective of which part of the project it is. So that's one of the things that will show that the company cares for you, right? It's not only that we need your money and then after that we don't call you and stuff like that. So a lot of empathy and humanism was needed at this point of time, and that is the security that all of them needed, that this is a good brand that we are with. And that also sends a message to the others, especially people who are your friends and family, saying that, okay, this developer did this for us when we were, in a lockdown, and this is a good product to buy when you come out of it.
Sure. Ravi, your quick perspective on this.
So 2 things I can give you a little idea about it. Because we and we request them what best can be done right now. So if you look at the offers from the builders, as Vyoma has mentioned, that no cancellation charges and surety of taking a booking, and you rest assured you can take back if you're not interested on a later stage and something like that. So that gives us a little more confident, and we see as sentiments are there. We Indians are a little emotional, and especially this kind of time, we really want to spend with the family. We want a security. So we started initial days sending messages to each. Guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. So each customers, even individuals, that I hope you are safe, your family is safe. And our 1 week of 10 days initial communication was that to each clients, each individuals, each fraternity whom we know. And then what we did, we started getting into discussion about properties and gave a little insight about how the business is. So we did quite a large number of webinars with the clients, and we focused on the clients, and we did lots of webinars, and we are still line up a few of the webinars. And we got quite a good response. We have done quite a good number of closures, which is, I can say, it's unbelievable. And then we looked at our 3rd phase, where now if you look at, we are running up online property expo, which is you can browse at www.onlinepropertyexpo.co, and you can see the special offers or attractive offers from each of the builder. So see, we started transformation from with a personal relation and knowing a wellness of their families, and then started looking at why they should invest, why these properties and everything, and then it's gone to the offers and everything. So it takes the clients to that stage. And especially I want to mention the channel partner fraternity, because see, real estate for us was touch and feel or buy, that days is gone. Believe me, now we have to change our thought. The channel partners who have never been a digital, they have to go to digital if they want to survive in this industry. So there will be lots of changes still, and it's going to be, this is what going to be the future. That's
interesting. So I'll just quickly have in Suresh to come in.
Pavan, sorry, I'm interrupting. We are running out of time and we have to go to audience questions as well. There are many questions pouring in. You want to take it up last question, and should I then move it to audience?
So what I'll do is, see, the last question which we want to kind of take it from each of this. So I think definitely we have just quickly one question we'll take from each of them to put a perspective. So I want to know from, quickly Suresh, so being in the co-living space where people are kind of also looking at social distancing, not kind of having a shared thing, right? So how currently you are managing, these things with the co-live currently? What's your perspective?
I think there are lots of norms that are coming up. It's an evolving thing, but what we came up was we have social distancing compliant beds within them, which means that there is at least a 2-meter distance between 2 beds, and that's how we positioned ourselves. I think one of the interesting things that I would like to mention is, our Prime Minister has been talking about Swachh Bharat for a long time, but our millennials and our young people were never bothered about it. They were always hunting for cheap homes, but suddenly now they are hunting for clean homes. So cleanliness, safety, well-maintained, hygiene, all this has become the buzzword in the industry when you are looking for a home. And other important thing is suddenly the work from home productive places are more relevant for people. So which means that, as real estate, stakeholders, we need to think this through because, work from home is going to be a reality. And how do we position our homes where there is a small office that can be created, where people can sit and take, because, imagine in a 2-bedroom hall, kitchen, your old mother is watching a devotional TV channel, your 2 children are, probably attending online classes, your wife is on a call and you are trying to, speak at a webinar. I mean, it's practically impossible. So this requires smart real estate repositioning, and that's what will happen as we go along.
Interesting. So now the last question, quickly, I'll just put to panel, right? So everybody is talking about going digital from discovery to selection and making transaction, everything online, right? So I'll ask, each of you to just 2 points, practically if you can give to my audience, right? Which are the 2 initiative you have taken going digital? So if any of the discovery to selection to transaction, and then with that, we close the discussion. So just one last, so it's kind of a fireside question. So I'll start with Bhaskar. So 2 initiative which is helping you to close, helping the closers and making discovery and, which is easy for the customers. Mr. Bhaskar.
So Pawan, on the discovery side, I'll keep it straight. Of course, building on the virtual tools, you bring them closer to reality. So whatever experience they could have at a site, which has been a primary objective, if you can build that online in the best way possible, is something which is going to actually help in the discovery and the experience part of it. On virtual the transaction part of it, virtual tools, yes. On the transaction part of it, I think it has to be that we do away with the physical part of it and start working on the let's say paperless model and the automation model. That means from, let's say, doing a transaction to having the receipts of the transaction to going ahead with the booking form, and all further engagements have to be built within the technology and has no actually physical communication that is required. So it has to be contactless, it has to be automated. That's where I come from in both the aspects.
Interesting. Vyoma, 2 recent, initiative in digitization Sriram has taken.
Yeah, so my belief is that in the 3-step process of doing a purchase, which is discovery, right, decision making, and transaction, right? I don't think we need to break our head too much on the decision making part because it's a high involvement purchase, right? And it is mostly once or twice in a lifetime purchase that the customer is going to go through. So for us Indians, the decision making will have to have a human element. They will mostly come to feel the space around themselves, visit the office, visit the location, visit the model apartment, the area they're going to live in. The discovery and the transaction process, like Bhaskar was also mentioning, is the area that can be influenced. And in terms of discovery, especially tools that help you shortlist from various properties you are going through, having your reasons to buy very amply communicated by way of videos, etc., on your online booking portal, on your website, a use of a lot of multimedia. So interactive plans, we've done some interactive plans where you can figure the property by way of clicking and exploring the property yourself. We have a lot of audio visuals where everybody from people to people talking to animation to various reasons to buy the property are amply communicated in a crisp way, right? And on the transaction side, we have moved to a completely online buying experience. I think most brands would have by now. So from digital payments to e-application forms to editable PDFs to a lot of those. So I'm sure that's not very new age because our industry is anyways been lagging in some of these. But I think, yeah, what you need to do is help them discover and decide online, and then in the middle process is where a little bit of a human touch is important, and that makes or breaks by how your sales team talks and how it engages with the customer, either by way of voice or by way of WhatsApp engagement or by way of webinars, etc. And that has to be human.
Interesting. So quickly, Dhruva, two initiative which you have taken and can be used as a takeaway for my audience.
Should we move? Sorry to interrupt, but should we move to the audience? We are really running out of time.
Dhruva's just quick.
Sure.
2 points and then just move it.
Just quickly, I think most of it is what Bhaskar and Vyoma has mentioned is in these similar lines. Adding to that is just that probably we need to look at more of assisted everywhere where consumers are looking for. I mean, even if there are a lot of these virtual reality, virtual tours, etc., are being done, how can we add technology to, or bring in more assistance? How the bots can work better? How we can even integrate with live video chats with the with the sales guys. I mean, there was. I'll just quickly give you one example. In one of our projects where people actually integrated a VC along with an existing customer to give that. So those things are, we're trying to see how there are multiple things which can be integrated where, a human face can be brought in, in the virtual world. And transaction, I mean, pretty much that we already have. We are extending that in every other way to, swipe online and do the entire transaction, right from expression of interest to the, purchase completely. So that's what we have done.
So, Bharat, agency perspective, just 2 things you would like to recommend to audience, or tools they can leverage, because everybody's talking digitization and people are sometimes really clueless. So to the audience, what would be your message? I would like to kind of quickly.
Yeah, so I would reiterate 2 things. One is all the marketing team should figure out what works the best and reconfigure their marketing mix, and that will require a new way of thinking even in terms of content. Like everyone said that even like for example, everything is virtual tour, so everyone will be fatigued by virtual tours. Can we make it interesting? Can we do it in an engaging manner? How do we ensure that our product concept is coming through very clearly and differentiated? Can we have almost like a dinner, like a Zoom dinner with architect telling about the concept of the product, etc., etc. So that's on the content side, where you create a little more innovative thing rather than doing it in a very plain vanilla way and interesting way, so that people are interested. Other thing is for the marketing teams to figure out what best works and double down.
Sure. So Neha, I would suggest you pick up any 2 questions, and I think the remaining panel, I think we can talk on this question.
There are many, but I will pick up quickly 1 or 2, and then we will quickly move on to startup pitches. So to all the panelists, anyone can take this up. Mr. Ashutosh Singh is asking, according to the panel, which city is going to overcome the situation fast? And is there any chance developers will move to tier 2 cities, as so many companies can move to India for their operations? Anybody can take this up.
I think I'll just answer that question. So urbanization is not going to go away. I think all of us have to keep this in mind. So, strong metro markets will continue to perform better. You will see empty roads today, but in a couple of weeks, you will be back to traffic jams, whether it is in Bangalore or Hyderabad or any of these metro markets. So I think not just because we operate in Bangalore or most of us operate in Bangalore, but Bangalore as a market will bounce back very, very strongly. The second market that will do very well is Pune, because these are markets which are attracting the GCCs, the corporates which are coming here and setting up their global capability centers. So these two markets will be top on the list. Hyderabad will be number 3 and then followed by Mumbai and Delhi. But I think clearly Bangalore and Pune will be winners going ahead.
Okay, but tier 2 chances are a little less, right? Like cities like Jaipur, Indore, or maybe Bhopal.
See, I think in an organized manner, the developers will start hunting for opportunities, and I think they will start going to tier 2 markets once they hit saturation points. Ultimately, the land prices determine where you start going and making projects. Tier 2 markets will start becoming attractive. And I think the demand for these kind of projects, good community, will also start coming from all these markets, because, ultimately India is now becoming top heavy in terms of what they are looking for.
Sure. So my second question, it's coming from Aditya Yadav. He's from Ajmera Realty. And he want to ask, looking at the channel partner situation, many ICPs have turned the site to small ticket size. How to push them for luxury projects? Anyone?
You want me to answer this?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think we have to accept the fact that the lots of migrations happening from out of the country to back to India, because India is much safer at this point of time, and there would be requirement of luxury is going to high. I'm sure, because the kind of standard life they have lived in, they cannot go to a smaller size of the properties, and they would love to have a little luxury. And I'm sure the channel partner, all of them will realize this fact, that like the way we have realized it, and we started looking at a positive way in luxury, and we have closed some of units in this COVID-19, which is a week attendance time. So I'm sure all the channel partners has to realize the fact, and I think the builder have to approach them. Builder have to make them realize it. Okay, this is what future is, and this is how it's going to be. Rest is going to be how quickly the market opens up, and frequently people go in the market to see that.
Sure, makes sense. And my last question, Pawan, and then we can quickly move on to pitches. This is from Mr. Bhupati. He wants to ask, how do we overcome potential customers when their prevailing myth that post-COVID prices would fall down to 20 to 25%, while our raw materials are shooting up along with the expected labor shortages? How do builders solve this jeopardy situation?
It is a little bit on the lighter note. अगर 20-25 के का price revision हो गया, will probably never get your home. So I don't think anybody except maybe in Mumbai market is making that kind of margins on their products overall.
Mm-hmm.
Bhaskar and Wadhwa might be having some leeway there, but I don't think in the mid-segment affordable housing space there's going to be anything of that sort of direction. I know there was an interview which caused a little bit of a stir there. But yeah, on a serious note, I think there will be some bargain hunting that will happen for Q1, Q2. Product and value that will prevail. Yes, financial structuring will be more important than pricing is what I see. I don't think developers will have enough room to cut prices. And like you said, input cost is going to go up. So I don't think people have room to cut prices in case they want to deliver with good quality and on time, reasonably on time. But yes, financial structuring and how to manage with a little bit of a deferred cash flow is going to be the game changer. And the people who are being able to do that are the people who will be able to sell without too much of a desperation or price cut in the next 2-3 quarters.
Sure. I think makes sense. Thank you so much, all the panelists. Quite an insightful panel. Thanks, Pawan.